Coming up, Luke Weaver is gone, but Emmanuel Rivera is here. Ryan Stiles of Locked On Royals is here to break him down. That is not the video. Where is my intro?
You are Locked On Diamondbacks, your daily Arizona Diamondbacks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Diamondbacks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day listening to who? The always charismatic host of this podcast, Miller Thomas. I'm a multimedia journalist and I'm a graphic designer, so please go check out my website, millerthomas24.myportfolio.com. On there you can see all my latest work, from my packages to my articles to my photos and my graphic design. If you want to see more content by me, just follow me on Twitter at CreatorThomas24 for my personal account, or just look up Locked On Diamondbacks on both Twitter and Instagram for the podcast handle. And of course, thank you for making Locked On Diamondbacks your first listen every day. I would not be able to do this podcast without you, my loyal listeners, sharing, subscribing, reviewing, doing all that so I could do this podcast for you. Thank you. It's free and available on all platforms, so please continue to tell your friends. Today's episode is actually brought to you by Blue Nile. Make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com. And going on now is the Blue Nile anniversary sale. Save up to 40% on classic fine jewelry pieces and 25% on engagement ring settings. Shop stress-free and find your forever piece. Go to BlueNile.com today. And we got some big news to talk about. Of course, MLB trade deadline. Dbacks are making moves. Luke Weaver just got traded to the Kansas City Royals. So to break down that trade from both sides, both perspectives, we brought on Ryan Stiles of Locked On Royals. Let me get my little name out of here. Get that out of here. Ryan, how you doing today, sir? MLB trade deadline day. We're recording this on a Tuesday. It'll probably drop Wednesday, but how are you feeling today, sir?
I'm feeling good. It's always exciting, even though our teams aren't in it necessarily for the play-in chase. It's still an exciting day for baseball. I mean, we're going to have a superstar. Juan Soto moved, and it's just going to kind of reshape the way we think about the rest of the season. So it's very exciting. I am happy to be here, but we do have a very important trade to announce on the lower scale for the Royals and Diamondbacks that we're going to dive into as well. So I'm excited, man.
Yeah, for our two teams, it's still a pretty interesting day because our teams are going to be active. It just, we're the sellers of the market, right? Where teams are coming to us and they say, what players can we poach from your team to help round out the edges of our roster for our playoff run? So it's always kind of a sad day for teams like us because it's like, what fan favorites are going to be leaving our teams today? Which players have we really enjoyed that might not be on this roster any longer? So it could be a sad day for us, but we did get one trade, and I don't think I was too sad to see it happen because the D-backs and the Kansas City Royals made a trade. Luke Weaver to the Royals. Coming back is third baseman Emmanuel Rivera, and this was basically just like a straight up 1-for-1 swap. This was not the D-backs trying to get any prospects back for Luke Weaver, try to salvage the deal that they made for Paul Goldschmidt a few years ago. This was not the Royals saying, yeah, this is a young guy who has been on the major league level, hasn't really taken a step up, but maybe we could get a couple young guys back for him. This was just a straight up trade between two teams that are saying, these are two young players that we're just kind of both probably over in our own organization, and maybe they could progress somewhere else and maybe finally turn around their career with someone else.
Yeah, I think that it's just a classic case of just change of scenery where the Royals are betting on Luke Weaver on a change of scenery with a new organization, new pitching staff, a new pitching coaches and everything. Maybe he can turn it around. I mean, he has some things you might like that 78th percentile spin rate. And then for the D-backs, they're going to take a chance on Emmanuel Rivera, who has hit in spurts at the major league level. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, at least for the Royals, it feels like, hey, we got a surplus of infielders. Let's trade away this infielder that has some pop potential to kind of bounce back for an arm that could bounce back as well. Just kind of a flyer for each side on a position of need, at least for the Royals. They need as many arms as they can get.
Yeah, let me first start with the D-backs perspective of why they would – well, let me start from here. Why would the D-backs want Emmanuel Rivera? What have you seen? Is it why are the Royals moving off of him, and why do you think the D-backs would even want him? Has there been something from his minor leagues that he was really good at? Has there been anything that maybe he's flashed on the major league level? Like, as a D-backs fan, should I be excited about Emmanuel Rivera at all?
Yeah, I'm excited. I was excited about Emmanuel Rivera for the rest of the season for the Royals. So for the D-backs, I would be very excited just because I think that he plays a serviceable amount of defense where I don't think he's ever going to win a gold glove, obviously, but he's also, I think, above average in the field, which helps a lot. I think that he can be a guy who can, at the peak of his ceiling, be like the sixth or seventh guy in your lineup that helps you turn the lineup back over to the top of the order. I think that he has everyday ball player potential. And I think that his floor is a nice utility piece off the bench for Major League Club. I think that he's a Major League player for sure. But the Royals just couldn't really find that consistency with him in the terms of their lineup and in terms of just the amount of people that they prioritize over him. You're going to prioritize Bobby Witt Jr. over him. You're going to prioritize Hunter Dozier over him. You're going to prioritize Whit Merrifield over him, Nicky Lopez over him. If Mondesi's ever healthy, he's going to be over him. You've drafted guys like Nick Lofton in the minor league still. MJ Melendez, of course, can bounce all over the diamond. And then, you have Emmanuel Rivera then slotting in a lot later in this process. So it's just a case of, he can't be an everyday ball player. But again, like I said earlier, I think that it's just two teams switching a flyer player at a more position of need for each organization.
Yeah, and I think another reason why the D-backs did it might just be because Toy Lavelle is very old school with how he manages games, and he just loves if I have a lefty on the mound, I'm putting a whole bunch of right-handed hitters in the lineup and vice versa. So I think it might just be a platoon situation for Rivera mostly because I wasn't too happy to see a major league third baseman coming back because I want to see Josh Rojas get as many opportunities as possible at third base, and now that just might clog his opportunities just a little bit. Like as a D-backs fan, I want to see as much Josh Rojas as possible. He's been the best player from that Zach Greinke deal, and he's having a really good, solid season for the D-backs so far. So from that standpoint, I was like, why are we getting another third baseman like the D-backs so far? I've only traded for catchers and third baseman. I'm like, can we please get a pitcher in the building in any one of these returns? But going to the Royal side, like, why are you happy to see Luke Weaver coming back in? Because I know as a D-backs fan, like I'm not too upset to see Luke Weaver leaving the building.
Yeah, I mean, I texted you immediately after this trade went down, and I was like, dude, I'm very excited about this move. Should I be excited? And if you want to reveal what you said, I won't throw you under the bus, but I was very excited about this mainly because for the Royals, you just need arms in your organization because you've seen your investments in first round arms not pan out so far. Now, Bubic and Singer having a great last 3-4 starts, and they're kind of turning it on a bit. Daniel Lynch has shown you some things. John Hazley's shown you some things, but you still need just more opportunities. You need more darts to throw at the wall. And Luke Weaver, I think, represents that. And from the Royals' perspective, too, we mentioned they get a new organization. And about 3 months when the season's over, they'll get a new pitching coach, too, because I believe that the Royals will fire their pitching coach, Kyle Eldridge, and bring someone better in. And so can that guy, whoever it is that they bring in as a pitching coach, can he work with that 78th percentile spin rate on his fastball and try to get something going with Luke Weaver? So I'm excited for the chance at Luke Weaver, but I know that you were excited to see him leave.
Yeah, because you bring up the pitching coach. That's why I'm like, I don't know if Luke Weaver can turn it around because the D-backs had the pitching whisperer and Brent Strom on their roster already. So if Brent Strom's turned multiple dudes into Cy Young Award winners, if he couldn't help out Luke Weaver in his career, then I'm like, I don't know if Luke Weaver is ever going to be going to be able to basically turn it around and get back to where he was in 2019, where he flashes maybe, a number 2, number 3 starter in a rotation, and then we haven't really seen it. So if Luke Weaver is able to bring some jewelry and some championship rings to the Kansas City Royals one day, that would be a phenomenal turnaround. And speaking of rings, the best place to get your fine jewelry at this time of year is BlueNile.com because whether you're ready to pop the question or you're celebrating a milestone moment, find jewelry as unique as her with the modern convenience of online shopping at BlueNile.com. Blue Nile has simple online tools that let you choose the diamond shape, size, and clarity, as well as setting style. Blue Nile's bent jewelers will then handcraft her perfect engagement ring. Each ring is one of a kind. Looking for fine jewelry but having trouble choosing? Blue Nile has jewelry experts on hand 24/7, available via phone or chat to help you find a memorable gift at every budget. Make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com. And going on now is the Blue Nile anniversary sale. Save up to 40% on classic fine jewelry pieces and 25% on engagement ring settings. Plus, every order is insured, ships free, and arrives in discreet packaging that won't give away what's inside. Shop stress-free and find your forever piece. Go to BlueNile.com today. Now, the thing with Luke Weaver that I wasn't a huge fan of since 2019, he's basically become like a two-pitch guy. He used to try to work on some more off-speed pitches. He tried to go with like a four-pitch arsenal when he was younger, but over the years, really during that 2020 season, he just started to move toward a two-pitch guy, and I think it just kind of made him too predictable in that sense. So, how do you project Luke Weaver going forward with the Royals? Do you see him as maybe like a two-pitch reliever for you guys in a bullpen? Because that's the way he was kind of doing this year for the D-backs, doing more reliever. Or do you think the Royals might try to get him back to that being a front line potential or like a more mid-rotation kind of a guy? Because that was what he was projected to be as a prospect coming up through the rankings. So how do you project Luke Weaver's career going forward with the Kansas City Royals?
I think it's interesting because the Royals can fit him in a multitude of spots because they need a back end star, they need a front end star, they need a mid rotation guy, but they also need a lot of spots in that bullpen. And the one area that Kansas City has been consistently good at in these last 5, 6, 7 years, of course, dating back to that 2013, 14, 15, 16 run, was constructing a bullpen under Dayton Moore. And in 2014, 2015, it was historically great in the bullpen. And a lot of those guys, as they often are, were failed starters. Wade Davis came over from Tampa Bay, couldn't really cut it as a starter in Tampa Bay. The Royals gave him another shot to start. Didn't really do great. Didn't do terrible, but didn't do great. Put him in the bullpen. He has the best season as a closer anyone's ever had. So they do have examples of guys who they trade who don't look great on the other team, and then they put him in their system, in their bullpen, and all of a sudden they utilize him to the point where they can break out in the pen. So I do think when it's all said and done, Luke Weaver will be a bullpen arm for Kansas City, and they're hoping that he'll be another one that's in line to be a back in the bullpen type of guy after failing at his first stop.